part whatever of living with IH. I'm Marlena. Excuse how raggedy I look today because I'm in the middle of a kitchen project that I have been trying to do all week, but I've been in a flare and I finally feel okay enough to do it today. So I finally am going to talk about Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome, but the kitchen project that I'm doing, I am changing everything that is in these cabinets. So these cabinets are all of my dishes and everything. I'm changing everything that's in here into my pantry. Why? I have noticed that I'm having issues with my grip. I'm naturally a clumsy person. I've always been a clumsy person. Yes, and I'm laughing because my family knows this, but my line sisters, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and if you ask my line sisters about this, yeah, because when we were online, it was a bit much. Probably the nerves of it all, but I was dropping a lot of stuff when we were online. But what I've noticed is with having IIH, I'm dropping a lot of stuff more frequently. I have broken a lot of plates and dishes more, and I don't know why until I was looking it up in like some of the Facebook groups, and I'm realizing that is a common thing. I don't have as good of a grip as what I used to, and so my mom suggested that I move my dishes from up here to the pantry. That way I'm not having to lift them, and so things are at chest level. And so I'm finally getting around to changing everything over. I wanted to do that during the week, but finally getting around to doing it today. But Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome, that is the point of this video. So what is Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome? The superior canal, that is in your ear. So I first noticed this back in October. I was having really bad vertigo. Vertigo is, you have dizzy spells a lot. And I was noticing that I was having a really bad one, like multiple days in a row. I couldn't drive. It was just really, really bad. And I didn't know if it was a side effect from the medication or if it was from the IH. So I looked up in one of the Facebook groups, like, what to do if you have this. They said, get a referral for vestibular therapy. So I set up this referral for the vestibular therapist. In order to do that, you have to be sent to an ENT. Great. I get sent to the ENT. ENT is like, cool, we'll test your hearing, test you for all of that. I get tested for everything, and long story short, they say you have Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome. What that means is there is a teeny tiny bone on the inside of your ear that is missing. It's either missing or it has eroded. There's a small population of folks that have IIH who they also have SCDS. It's called Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome or Superior Semicircle Canal, whatever. You can look it up. But some people have both. Why is it that they have both? When you have IIH is caused by too much spinal fluid in your brain. So pretty much your brain is just sloshing around in too much spinal fluid, and it's usually right by your ears. That fluid is eroding this little bone, and over time that bone wears down. Now, most people, they don't notice that that bone is missing because it changes nothing to your day-to-day life. If you have Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome, you don't notice anything. It's not painful. It might cause certain things like autophony. I think that's how that's pronounced. Autophony, which is a symptom that I have. I hear my voice very loud in my head. Oftentimes, I've noticed lately, I speak very softly. I speak very softly because my voice sounds very loud in my head. So I feel like I'm projecting, and I'm not projecting. Or it sounds like there's an echo to me. There's not an echo. I'll also hear, and this is pulsatile tinnitus. Pulsatile tinnitus is also a feature of IIH, but it's also a feature of Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome. You hear this whooshing noise. The whooshing is the fluid. That's a symptom of both of these issues. So, with Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome, it can be rather complicated because you have those symptoms. There are a few other symptoms that I can't think of right now. Hold on. Some that are things like sensitivity to sounds. Like I don't listen to music. I have not listened to music since October, and that has been deeply upsetting for a myriad of reasons, because you are very sensitive to sound. I haven't really been able to go out and be around large groups of people because being in large groups of people, there's just so much noise. It's very hard being in a lot of noise settings, but that is also a feature of IIH also because of the pressure and the noise and everything. So like I said, there are like 3 different gradients of folks that have Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome from what I have heard and read. It's like mild, medium, and heavy. I don't know. Because some people, they live with this and they have no idea. So some people, they are born with that bone missing, and it's not until something happens that it becomes a problem. And I think that is the case for me. I think having IIH is what made this come to the forefront, because it wasn't until they did the testing for vertigo, and they did what's called VEMP testing for my hearing and all this other sort of stuff, that they realized, oh wait, you have this bone missing. But my mother and I, we think that I have always had this because I have had a history of sinus issues, earaches, all other sorts of things since I was a baby. So it's probably something that has always been there, but it wasn't until I had IH that it really became a problem. Now, most people with Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome, there's no pain involved. It's just issues with hearing. It's issues with vertigo, because with this bone missing, you are constantly off balance because you need to have this bone plugged in order to make sure that you are back on balance. So you'll also have vestibular migraines when you have Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome. So a lot of these things go hand in hand. Now, how do you fix this? Well, a craniotomy. What's a craniotomy? They lift your brain and they plug it. But that is very complicated when you also have IIH and you have vestibular migraines and you have other sorts of things to fix it. So they suggest taking care of the IIH, taking care of the vestibular migraines, but they also suggest doing some sort of therapies and other sorts of things to kind of help the tinnitus, to help the, what the fuck? Y'all know what word I'm trying to say. No, you don't, because you're not in my brain. But trying to help some of the other symptoms, because unfortunately, there's not much that they can do to plug that hole, and because it's a very risky surgery, and unfortunately from what I have read, it doesn't seem too promising. It's very risky to do with a very small chance of being fixed. So it's like, well, what do you do? I don't know. So right now my priority is fixing the IIH, fixing the vestibular migraines, and hoping that the Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome will work itself out in the interim, because that is the main issue. The Superior Canal Dehiscence Syndrome, that's kind of all secondary. Everything else is wildly out of control. And once we fix that, then we can tackle the other issue.